I think, maybe not, 2 weeks ago.
All right, we'll get an opening statement from Coach, and then we'll open up for questions.
Big challenge again, another good team this week, coming off a poor performance a week ago Thursday. Kind of cleaned it up on Friday. Had a little bit of break with the guys over the weekend, got some light work Sunday, had a good go with the guys Sunday night. Looking forward to kind of bouncing back and making sure we're staying on track with what we're trying to build, but most importantly for our seniors, finishing in a positive way and a strong way down the stretch. So had a good start Sunday. We'll need to have a good week of practice. We'll have to deal with the weather a little bit as we practice the next couple of days, it looks like. But playing a really, really good team, very talented team, and we'll need to have our best game and play significantly better than we did last week.
Questions? Jared is Mike, and I have a mic.
You talk about SMU and how good of a team they are. How would you, I guess, rate them? They're undefeated, in conference play. They played well against OU. Are they one of the favorites, do you think, in the conference?
I mean, they've gotten a lot of clout through the years, and with Coach Lashley's background in offensive line, but they're extremely strong on defense. I think they're rated in the top 10 nationally, one of the best in our conference. I think they're giving up 14 points a game, so they play strong defense. So they're a complete team. Good solid quarterback, good scheme offensively, really good athletes, and they'll be transitioning out of the league. So one of the last times, unless I guess we get in some non-conference tilts, we've always played those guys. So it's always been a great matchup. And I know our guys are looking forward to the challenge. Really good team, and they've played well. They've came up short in a game or two, but they've played really well. They're a good, solid team. Very, very good team.
Now that you guys have dropped a couple in a row, how do you feel like your players are responding? How do you think their, attitude is right now?
Yeah, I think it's been really good. I didn't like the second half performance. I thought we were, for whatever reason, one of the few times I've saw us maybe not be as strong or compete as solid as you'd like to down the stretch. We for whatever reason, we continue to have turnovers, especially in the first quarter. I think we've had 12 first quarter turnovers, and we had 3 in that game. I think that's the third game. We've had 3 first quarter turnovers. Throwing the ball directly to them, and at the same time we battle and fight it. We get it to 14-10 with a minute and 30-ish in the first half, and we give up a cheap 6-7 play 2-minute drive, which we had not played that way all of a sudden. And it wasn't like the defense was tired. The offense had 2 long drives. Matter of fact, we had gotten the ball down the first half to the 10-yard line, and I think our second drive and tried a 4th down play. Maybe we shouldn't have. It was 4th and short, and we tried a 4th and 1 that didn't work for us, so we left some points on the board there. We had a drive in the second quarter. I think we're second 2 or 3 about the 25. We take a sack. We were able to get it back in field goal range to kick a field goal. Then we come back and score. So we had a couple good drives, had kind of settled. So even though it was a shaky start, and we've had a couple of those, we have played through those. It looked like we were playing through that one. And then we give up the touchdown before half in a minute and 20 seconds, or less than a minute, really. We start the second half with 3 and out, and then they had 3 long drives, and we had, they had 90-yard drives. So our defense had a chance to make some stops. A little disappointed at this point, the way the offense started turnovers. We've got to stop that. We talk about and we've emphasized being a more disciplined team, and we've done better with penalties, and we're doing better in some kicking game. And for the most part, we had tackled better till that game we didn't. But the turnover deal is a part of disciplined football that's still been one of our Achilles heels. So offensively, we got to get through that. Defensively, we have battled through that, and it looked like we were at a point of doing that, and then all of a sudden just totally flopped in the second half, and that's the first time I've seen that. So we talked about that, and as we talked about it, all we did was Friday, after games like that, a lot of times places want to have player meetings, and I've never been a part of a player meeting is good, and I don't think we need coaches meetings. Let's have a team meeting, and let's watch this as a team, and let's watch offensively how we played, defensively how we played, kicking game as a team. So we went Friday afternoon and watched that as a team, understood we lost as a team. We need to play better as a team. We need to coach better as a team. We need to work better as a team, and we're going to do everything we can to stay together, stay positive, stay strong. Wasn't a bunch of finger pointing, but hey, here's a good call we didn't execute well. Here's not a good call. This is not a good offensive call. This is not a good defensive call. This one here, this is a mistake. We can't do this. So just show them across the board where collectively we all need to do better. I still think last week, going in that game, we'd had some good practices. Our team has bought into our process of how we want to practice, prepare. I thought we came out, I was kind of funky through the weekend, and Sunday night, as soon as we got on the field, the guys started to jump around. It kind of made me put a smile on your face because our guys like to work. We had good practice. So we'll bounce back, have the best week we can. We are playing a strong opponent, but we're gonna put together a good plan and get after these guys at 11 o'clock on Saturday down there. It's gonna be a tough contest, but we're looking forward to it.
And the game plan at the quarterback position, do you keep it the same, or does it depend on the opponent, depend on the week, depend on practice that week?
I guess a little bit of all. Practice most importantly. We're trying to keep those guys engaged, get them out there. We're not same time. I don't want we're not playing against each other. You yourself need to. They're both talented but young players that need to play better. And sometimes you can say they're not experienced. The only way you get experience is to play, and sometimes you have to play through bad. We need to do everything we can to put them in better situations. We need to do everything we can to make sure that we're coaching them better and they're prepared better. But also, too, they need to learn, because no matter what you say until we're sitting here coaching from a sterile position, we're coaching from a video angle, they're playing, it's a different view, and it's a different stress. And sometimes you have to play through that to learn and grow. So they need to continue to grow. I need to make sure, though, we're not doing a way that slows that process down. And so when you're going back and forth, does it slow? I haven't seen, we do at other positions. You see several running backs play. Well, it's really because no one has really separated themselves. And so, if the competition's kind of even, you play some guys, it keeps more guys engaged. But what we don't want it to be is hodgepodge. And my concern after last game was the outcome performance was disturbing to some degree, but are we getting better? And our whole thing is about constant, consistent daily improvement. And if we're not getting better, why? So you're looking at, again, what we're doing in practice, the plays we're doing, and let's make sure that each day we're getting better, giving ourselves a chance to have the best game plan and win the game, but each week we're getting better, better, better. And I thought as we went through the year, you could see that. The second half of that game, I didn't see that. And we talked to our guys about that. We talked to the staff about that. Let's don't do drills this week. We're not going to practice or practice harder. Let's make sure everything we're doing in practice is the right things to get these guys better and then continue the process of improving.
So does Braxton start and they both play, or you haven't decided that?
I hadn't decided.
Dan?
You mentioned the team meetings and wanting everybody to be a part of the team. Do you feel like whenever you have a loss like the one you had on Thursday, that kind of the team is more, they put more of an emphasis on rallying around each other during a moment?
Well, I think my thing, even after the game, was, the only thing I know is I'm not going to point fingers, and I know we need to work hard and continue to get better, and we're going to stay together. And if you have a problem doing that, then don't be here tomorrow. We're going to stay together. I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to do everything I can to help you play better. And that's not by putting you down. It's like, but I also need to correct mistakes, and we need to hold you to a standard. And again, I do like the way this team has practice. I do enjoy our crowd immensely. We just got to make sure that we're finding ways to put them in successful positions to perform, to play well, and to give ourselves a chance to get victory, which the last two games we haven't. We started both the Florida game, the Florida Atlantic game, and last week against Rice, with the turnovers, a couple scores early. We're down 14-0 out the gate both games. We got to get up to strong. We've talked about it. Talking's one thing. We've got to do it. We're playing. We got to battle through it and find our way to get on the top side of that. And it'll be tough this week because we're playing a really good team. But we got to come out and play 60 minutes, start better, play with some momentum. And the best way to do that is to have the best practice we can. And I challenged our coaches, myself included, to make sure that we're doing everything we can, that these kids believe that we're giving them a chance to get better and we're giving them a chance to win this game. And that's our goal, and that's what we're going to do this week.
And I know you're big on routine and schedules. This might be kind of out there, but y'all are the only school in the country that go home away the entire season. As we hit this final stretch, having that routine down, how is that going to help y'all?
Well, I mean, you do like the routines. It's been a little bit out of whack with the Thursday games, a short week, long week. But again, with what we dealt with coming out of the summer, and we had to deal with, the concert moving around. We've had to deal with excessive heat and having some evening practices. I thought we have done a good job of, no matter what the situation, in my opinion, having some good, solid practices. That's why I really had felt good about. I see us getting better. I like the way we practice. We got great guys. We got some great seniors. Everybody's buying in. This is good. Coming off that field last week, okay, you didn't feel that, that game. Okay, why? And so without casting stones, let's make sure we're not going down that road. There's the routine now of home away. What is nice, we are going to start playing on some Saturdays, and you get into a Sunday routine, a Monday routine, a Tuesday routine, and be a little consistent. I mean, the home away at 6 home, 6 away, I think when you're kind of home and away, it keeps your fans engaged. I think when you're gone, when you have, an open date and 2 away games, all of a sudden it's like a month you haven't been home, you can lose some of your fans. And we've continued to have good crowds. I think that was our largest Thursday night crowd we had last week. We had homecoming coming back in 2 weeks. So it is good to get on into a flow. And we worked hard to try to maintain a flow, but it's been a little all over. Those Monday practices are a little different here because of our class deal. We've had to practice on some Saturdays and Sundays because those were work days. Now we're kind of getting into a Monday to Friday routine, which would be a little bit normal. It'd be nice to kind of finish that way down the stretch.
Sure.
Coach, now as you look ahead, SMU on defense, really solid rushing defense, second in the conference, and knowing you guys have struggled a little bit with turnovers through the air, how does that impact the game plan against the Mustangs?
Well, we thought, I felt we had played kind of very close to the vest. I thought last game we needed to open up a little bit more, throw it a little bit more on first down and second down. Of course, it started there, second play of the game, we get an interception on a scramble play that we shouldn't throw. We shouldn't be running the route that way. But I don't think, you can't play. We're playing a team that's going to score points. And, we can't play like in a shell. We've got to find a way to get the ball in. You don't win on the road kicking field goals. You got to find a way to get touchdowns. These guys are also very good at red zone defense. So, it's going to be difficult, but we'll do everything we can to, you're not going to win games scoring 10, 13, 17 points. It's hard to win games in the 20s. You've got to get into the low 30s to sometimes have a chance. So whether it be through the air or whatever we're doing on the ground, we've got to find a way to get the ball in the end zone. Because I expect our defense to play well and bounce back. They'll get challenged and stressed. And no matter how well they play, SMU has enough good players in the scheme. They're going to score their points too. We do have to score points. I think that's been, outside of the turnovers we had offensively, we have not been able to create big plays. We've not been able to get into the end zone as much as I think you need to be on the plus side of the ledger. And we got to keep finding ways down the stretch to increase our point total. Does that mean we throw it more? That was the thought last week. At the same time, it backfired. I thought going into OU, we were going to have a difficult time blocking those guys. I thought they were going to be very difficult. Let's throw it more. Well, we had five picks that game. So we got to quit throwing the football to the other team. So that's a little bit of the rub as we go back and forth is, getting some consistency at quarterback, getting some confidence as players and coaches. And sometimes, too, the throwing game is struggling as much with protection as it is the guy throwing the ball or the guys running routes. I mean, when you got 2 seconds and your pocket's breaking down on you, that's a tough animal too now. So that's why, again, we watched it as a team so we all could take ownership of here's how we played. We all need to do better.
On that, a quick follow-up, as much as you can you take us into that team meeting, watching it as a team? Was it, when you go play by play, was it a player, raising his hand saying, oh, I messed that up? Was it a coach kind of pointing out different things? I mean, how, as a team, did you watch that?
Yeah, we just rolled it, and I kind of was the MC of it per se, and it wasn't negative. It's just very matter of fact. Here's the play. This is not a good call here. Kind of wish we'd have been in this formation. Maybe got you out of it. Maybe shouldn't have done this call. This is a good call. Why? What are you thinking here? I'd have the coaches interject, but it wasn't a finger pointing deal. It was trying to get guys to talk out loud. It was trying to get coaches to talk out loud, and everybody take ownership. And I think there was as much ownership from me and the coaches of things we can do better as much as things they had to do better. I think that's the best way to keep our team down the stretch and going forward together and that's why one guy said, Coach, can we have a player? I said, no. Well, let's work this as a team. We're all in this together. Let's work together. Let's work through it. I think that's our best chance, short term and long term. That's how teams work. Everybody's on the same page. It was very direct. We were not sugarcoating it, but it was also not very negative. It was just very matter of fact. Here we are, and we've got them 3rd and 11 on the 9-yard line coming out. And they run the ball first. Hey, guys, we got them on schedule. We got them right where we want them. We've got them pinned down. It's 14-3. We're getting ready to get great field position. I think it's the first drive of the second half. We've got them on 3rd and 11 on the 9-yard line. We're getting ready to get the ball right back. And we're in this one-possession game, and all of a sudden they pop a run and then a pass. So, you got is that a good call? Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. Was it properly ran? But just to show them where, as bad as it looked, there's some very correctable things that we all need to do that can give us a chance to look and be a lot more better than that thing looked last Thursday night. And that's why I felt it was best that all hands were on deck, all parties were accountable, and we all took ownership of it. I know as coaches we did, and I think that helped the players reflect on that a little bit too. We'll see as we move forward. I think that's why we had a good Sunday. We kind of came, let's move forward.
Last one. How did you celebrate your birthday?
Watching tape, and then got to go to Rib Crib for a show. And it was kind of neat though. You know, you're getting, well, first of all, it's great to have a birthday, and I appreciate the well wishes. And it's you know, you get, you know, some early from your children, which is kind of cool. But then when you've coached as long, all of a sudden here comes your former players, here comes your former colleagues that you've worked with, alumni. I always, the reason Coach Walker at Miami, Ohio and Northwestern never fired me was his wife's birthday's today. So I would walk in yesterday and say, hey, today's my birthday. And he'd go, oh, crap. I mean, because, you know, when you're coaching, you're not thinking about buying gifts. It's like it's Tuesday practice, it's Wednesday practice. He goes, that's the only reason I don't get rid of you. You remind me of my wife's birthday every year. So I had to text Tammy Walker yesterday and wish her a happy birthday today, which was kind of good. So you get some of those connections, you know, from your high school friends. It is really cool, though, when you get a text from an old Indiana player, an Ohio State player, Miami, Ohio colleague, someone you worked with, a former alumni guy that you crossed paths with, and all of a sudden, you know, like in your world, James Hill is always one of the guys that hits me back. So I get a James Hill, you know, happy birthday, which I kind of would have, if you would have told me if I was getting one, James Hill would have made my list to send me one. He always does. And so, and that puts a smile on your face because with what we do, we touch a lot of people, we cross a lot of people, and you make a lot of great friendships. And that was the best thing yesterday, is you could reflect on a lot of people just wishing you well, but it made you feel good because that's the people that you've worked for, worked with, and people you coach, and that's a blessing.
So defense and special teams has been something that you guys have been tested on with going against Oklahoma, Washington, teams like that. This week with SMU, you know, you have a guy from SMU that's made the special teams player of the week, the wide receiver Daniels. Guys like that, you got to keep the ball out of their hands, it seems like. So just talk about the secondary and what you're kind of working with them this week to kind of go up against those type of players.
Well, again, we're just starting the preparation today, and they are talented with running backs. That they try to be well balanced in what they're doing. And even though they have, you know, guys that's been dynamic, they have other guys too. So it's not like you can kind of concentrate just on this one. You know, Florida Atlantic had a really good player. They got him touches, and he had a big game against us. So I know their coaches will put a plan together. I still feel the way we're playing, though, we've got to do a better job of stopping the run. We didn't stop Rice's run. And then because we didn't stop the run, they were a two-dimensional team. We had a hard time then getting after the quarterback. They played on their terms. We had a difficult time. If we allow SMU to play on their terms, run the ball, protect the quarterback, the playmakers, it'll be a difficult day for us. So it's not just stopping one guy. It still starts to me with, can you do your best to get them one-dimensional, get them third and long. We did that last game a few times that we could have got off the field, and we didn't. That'll be a challenge this week. And I think the key thing at the end of the day, too, they've got a bunch of nice playmakers, but Preston Stone, their quarterback, I remember looking at him when I was at Ohio State as a freshman high school kid. He was a very talented, touted recruit coming out, and he's a really strong quarterback. So to me, he's the guy that makes it go. And but if they're a balanced offense, which we're trying to be, like right now, our balance is because we can't throw the ball. If like we need to throw the ball better. If they're a balanced attack, our defense is going to have their hands full. So to me, I think it starts every week with stopping the run. And of the things we did last week in the Rice game, that was disappointing. We allowed them to run the ball a little bit better than they should have, allowed them to get in more manageable situations, and allowed them to wear our defense down. And I think that's why we had difficulty last week. If that happens this week against SMU, we'll have the same result. So we've got to stop the run, get them into third and longs, try to see if we can create some turnovers, try to see if we can get after the quarterback a little bit and get off the field. And if we do, we'll be in the game, and it'll be a heck of a great game. If we don't, it'll be a long day.
Last thing for me, you haven't had that option to have, you know, Braxton and Williams out at the same time. I saw a play, I think, where Cardell threw it to Braylon. He didn't convert on it, obviously, but will we see a little bit more of that since they're both kind of coming back healthy, you know, bringing them both out there and defense is having to figure out what your scheme is?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes though, you just don't want to be gimmicky, you know, about what you're doing. You know, you still, like I go back to the last game, we didn't tackle very well. I go back to the Florida Atlantic game. I didn't think we blocked very well early. That's why I had to run the quarterback so much. One of the reasons the two quarterbacks are out there, they're both good athletes. But, you know, a gimmick play, a trick play, once in a while things kind of nice. But to be a good team, you're consistent. And that starts with blocking, it starts with tackling. So, we'll always have a chance to see those guys right now both playing because no one is separated to be the quarterback. And they're both good enough athletes that with some of our other guys, we've had a few injuries along the way, that it gets some of our best players on the field. We'll look at, as we're early in the game plan, we'll look at how to attack this team, and whether it be through those guys on the field or not, we'll see as we go forward.
Larry and Scott.
Okay. Talking about getting pressure on the quarterback. Any chance more blitzing, perhaps, or if you think just a basic question?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to create it. And, of course, if you blitz, you're stressing your coverage a little bit. So can you cover? And that'll be what Coach Pelisi and his guys looking to get. We're talking about some of the receivers. Do you match up, and can you cover them? If you protect the coverage, you can't let them sit there and pat the ball and pat the ball and pat the ball. You got to get home. Like in our world, 2.5 to 3 seconds protection starts breaking down. We got to make sure that we're on defense. It's the same deal. If you're giving a guy 3.5, 4.5 seconds, odds are he's going to maybe find a guy. Guy's going to break coverage, get open. So I think you got to pick your spots. You got to have your mix. I do think there's always merit to having blitz pressure. I think you got to be calculated on how to do it, whether it be first down, normal downs, and third downs. We had a number of pressures the other night that for one of the few times this year we handled poorly on third down. We had a sack fumble on a 3rd and long with the tailback missing a blitz, didn't even block the right person. So that there's a part of that where you can create some stress, but at the same time as you're trying to create stress for them, you're stressing yourself out with coverage. So you better be able to get home, or better have the guys that can cover. So, but it would be nice to have some blitzing, and whether we're over aggressive with that or not, I'll trust Coach Pelisi. What I don't want to do is not blitz and not get pressure, because we do have to get the quarterback off the spot the best we can.
And also a different tack here. Talk about some of your freshmen. I know McGarry's been given playing time, done some good things for you. But talk about some of your other freshmen, how they're progressing, and may some of them who haven't played much maybe get a little more playing time.
Yeah, I haven't said that yet, but you're down to even a guy that hasn't played, could play a couple of these games down the stretch, because you get to 4 games and still redshirt. We've had a couple guys that have played 3 or 4 games have asked, hey, if I'm not going to play a lot, would you have a problem redshirting me? And we're not going to force a guy to play if he wants to. So some of our guys that have played in some of the early games, the Pine Bluff, the OU, the Washington game, got in those games and played a little bit. Have with them and their families, they asked could they get their freshman year redshirt, and right now their role would be like Luke McGarry's playing a lot. It's a big role. Devin Robinson's been playing a lot. R.J. Jackson's playing a lot. Those are big roles. Some of the other guys weren't maybe playing quite as much. Do you want to burn that year for just a few plays of kickoff cover? I think Grayson Tempest is kind of past the point of redshirting in his own kicking teams and playing. I like our quarterback, Kirk Francis. He's not played yet, but I think he shows good promise. Bennett Ringlib, Case and Carpenter have played minimally. I think they'll be redshirted. They're showing good promise. Our receivers, the young crowd, have not gotten where we need them to outside of Grayson. Cam Crooks was playing a little bit at running back. He was playing some special teams. He's in that position where maybe he could be redshirted or not. We're kind of looking at it. C.J. Turner was playing well, has a leg injury that maybe he's going to be back in a week or two. We got to decide, is it worth playing those couple games, because that will burn his redshirt year. Elijah Wilson's played a little bit, but I think is in that redshirt scenario. Tyler Rich has played a little bit, redshirt scenario. We've got about 10, 12 of those guys have played. But I would say with R.J. Jackson, Grayson Tempest, Luke McGarry, seems like I'm missing one, are the 3 or 4 guys that probably are not going to be redshirted and end up playing.
Okay, and just one more question I was going to ask about Marquis Shoulders, his health status. I know he's had some. Is he out this week?
Yeah, he's got a foot injury that we're trying to see can he get back, and it's got a chance to maybe not go well, and he hasn't practiced really other than just catching. So he has an injured foot, and I would think in all likelihood he's probably out. There's a chance for the season. And the same with Taj Gary, who got a knee injury at Florida Atlantic. So those guys right now are probably short term as you go through the season, probably out for the season.
This rivalry with SMU, it's been intense through the years. You've seen a lot of crazy things happen in this game. With them leaving the conference, does this make Saturday a little more special? Does it add anything to it? Or
Yeah, I think it's special just because we got a lot of Texas kids that know those players and have played against them, and the recruiting process of who recruits you and all that kind of stuff. So the schools have always had some parallel with, two cities that are great academic schools and great traditions. And I think it's kind of just more of the pedigree of the schools and the players knowing each other that has always made this and makes this game versus now this is we've not really addressed it as, hey, well, this will be the last time you play these guys. No, you're playing them this week. It's a conference game. We didn't play our best last week. We need to play better. And we have typically, this has always been a really good matchup. Let's do everything we can to have a great week and go play versus, hey, this is your last shot. We didn't even bring that up.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
You guys good? Have a great week. Stay dry today.